One of the things that's worth a lot of money in real estate, on the internet, is domain names. Number one, domain names. So let's talk a little bit about a domain name. Should my domain name be .ca, .com? Should it be .biz, .info, .net, .org? They're called domain identifiers. I want to spend a few minutes talking about that, okay? I also want to spend a few minutes talking about what should your domain name be. Should it be my name? Should it be a generic domain? I say to real estate agents, all you need are 2 domains. You don't need to have, I've got some people who I know who have multiple domains. If you have one real estate website, you don't need to have multiple domains. But it's a good idea to have 2. One of them should be your own name. You should register your own name. And you want a .com. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's talk about the domain names themselves for a moment. We'll come back to the .com, .ca, and why it should be a .com. You should, you should register your own personal name. If you have a common name, it's probably gone already and has probably been gone for some time. So you may have to abbreviate your first name, or you may have to put your middle initial in it, or you may have to hyphenate it, whatever. But if you have a common first name and last name, it's probably already gone. That's number one. The second domain, however, that you want is generic. And what I mean by generic, I mean 2 things. The business you are in and the location you are in. And what we mean by that is this. Obviously, Mississauga real estate has been long gone, but that would be a perfect example of the perfect domain name. The business you are in, real estate, the location you are in, Mississauga. And so that would be an example of a perfect domain name. And you would ideally like that to be MississaugaRealEstate.com, ideally. Now, let me explain to you why you want a generic domain. First of all, there's 2 main reasons why you want a generic domain. One of the reasons is basically supporting the number one and only reason to have a website. The only reason you need a website has got nothing to do with, well, my competition has a website, so I guess I really need to have one because they have one. It seems to be the right thing to do today. The only reason to have a website is because it's a business. And it's a big, huge business. And for the first time in our real estate lives, we have an opportunity to build our real estate business successfully, and by building it online, someday 10, 20, 30 years from now, depending on when you decide to retire from this business, if you do it right and you've built a successful internet business, you can sell your internet business. And let me tell you, domain names are worth a lot of money. Example. I always tell this little story, and it's a true story. I spent 10 years in the U.S., all of the 90s, and there was, when the internet was just in the beginning, when it was just taking off, there was this man who had a real estate company in the U.S., a small little real estate office, very unimpressive, actually. He was in California, which is where I was living for many years, and he bought the domain realestate.com. He didn't even realize what he was doing at the time, but he bought realestate.com. And he had this unimpressive little website, and he had this website for many years. And all of a sudden, along came eloans.com and wanted to buy realestate.com and paid him $6 million just for the domain name. They dismantled the site as he had it, pointed it to eLoans, and built their site around realestate.com. So I want to make sure you understand this. Domain names are worth a lot of money. Now let me ask for this question. If he had bought realestate.ca, would he have gotten $6 million? $2 million. No. $2 million. Well, maybe a little less than that. But that would have been worth money too, but nowhere near what he got. So I say to real estate, understand that domain names are worth money. Do you have any idea what Realtor.com would be worth? I mean, we're talking multi-millions of dollars. Cars.com, Homes.com. I mean, I want to make sure you understand. Domain names are worth money. As a matter of fact, there's a site that you can go to if you've owned a domain name for a long time, and it's ranked, and we're going to talk about search engine ranking. If it's ranked, I don't have the web address off the top of my head, but if you email me, I will actually send you a link, because I don't have it off the top of my head. It's not a site I go to often. But there's a site that you can go to that will even tell you what the value of your domain name is, if it has any value at all. And so I want to make sure you understand domain names are worth money.